Hello, my name is Emily Rizak, and this is my ethnography project. For my site selection, I chose the Den, which is located under the Maxwell Student Union. I chose this because it is new this year. I haven't spent much time there, so I don't really have an idea, or I didn't going into it. As well as I figured the space is multifunctional, so there's an Einstein's bagel shop, smoothie shop, space for people to study, place for people to meet up for group projects, etc. So I felt like that was a pretty large sample where I could get the most beneficial data, basically, as well as the fact that there's faculty members there, so I would be able to pull data of interactions with faculty member and student relationship. My purpose for this research is to focus on the demographic of students who spend time in the Den, see if there are any dominating groups. For one reason, I feel like that this is beneficial, or my data would be significant to the people who renovated the Den. The Den is new, it was created this past summer. So I feel like this could be beneficial for the owners of the businesses, as well as with prior knowledge of the inequality on campus at Georgia College. I felt like my data could be beneficial to kind of see that even in a place that is inclusive, which is the Den, see if there's any dominating groups, because for students enrolled, that is more of a selective process. So when there's inequalities in groups, there's more of an explanation, but seeing inequality among groups on somewhere on campus that is supposed to be inclusive and open to the public, I wanted to see if there was still that inequality among racial group, gender groups, etc. For my field note taking process, I chose a spot at a table and I sat there looking as if I was doing my schoolwork, just kind of like everyone else was. I was playing the role of the detached observer, but still was close enough in proximity to students so that I could kind of hear what was going on and be able to see what specific people were doing, whether they were doing work on their computer, just eating, etc. I also try to be as specific about what people were wearing, what they looked like, their gender, their race, so that I could use that data to later make inferences about them when I was going through pulling themes and coding. When going through my data that I collected, I found I was able to pick up on a few codes and themes such as gender, race, purpose for being there, Greek life, interactions, conversations, etc. I used the open coding process to go through my notes, highlight specific words, and then use the comment feature to put that into a category. So if I was overhearing a conversation and I was writing about it, I would put conversation. Or if I said two white girls walking, sitting, it'd be gender and then interaction. When going through this data, I found when I was going through my codes, I found that race, gender, and Greek affiliation were the most prevalent. So I narrowed in on those three, and that's what I decided to kind of use for the focus of my paper. Because I'm a member of Greek life, I felt like I had an advantage if I would be able to, I think Greek life is a sort of organized thing that says a lot about someone's socioeconomic class due to different factors like dues, stuff like that. So I felt it was important to focus on, which is why I said I used the Axile coding process or the Axile coding method to kind of also focus in on Greek life. I was able to collect data on things such as girl wearing a t-shirt with Greek letters on it. So then she would go into the Greek affiliation category. And that's how I was able to identify whether or not people were in Greek organizations. As well as some people would have stickers on their computer, whatnot. For my data, the gender breakdown of the Den, and I feel like it's important to note for this and race, is that my field notes or assumptions, I don't know what the people actually identify as because I am observing strangers, and I can't say for sure that this is what someone's race is or this is what their gender is. Out of the 29 people I observed, though, 21 were female and there was 8 male. So it's clear that there was a dominance in the female presence in the den. My interviewee was also a female student, Shay, who described frequenting the den. In regards to race, my data clearly suggests that the demographic of people were predominantly white. Out of the 29 individuals I made note of in my field notes, I only noted that 4 were people of color, which 3 of those consisted of the workers at the Einsteins. And so there was only 1 student that I made note of that was clearly a person of color to me. I found it interesting that the workers were all people of color, majority versus the students. I found this to also be consistent in my interview notes with Shay, where she made note that one of the workers she remembered was one really nice, quote, one really nice black lady, but I don't know her name, but I think she recognizes me, when I asked her about her opinion on the workers. Going into Greek life, on the campus at Georgia College, I feel there's a large presence of Greek life. So going into my observation, back to gender and race. This is the Georgia College demographic data of the racial groups who are enrolled on campus. So this is being white people, this being Latino and Latina, and this being Black or African American students enrolled. So we can see here on the data from the Data USA breakdown. In 2019, the enrollment rates were 80.2% white, 53.2% white female, and 8% African American. So this is consistent with the data that I collected as well about the people in the den. On to Greek life or Greek organizations. Again, I described a number of people to be wearing sorority or fraternity shirts, which identifies them as a member of a Greek organization. In addition, my interviewee, Shay, she says that she is a member of a Greek organization. She lives in her sorority house on campus, which she said is why she goes so often to the den, because it's close walking distance. And her and her roommates, who are also members of Greek organizations, they go every single Friday morning. So it was definitely present in the den. My data suggested that 6 students I observed were identified as in Greek life out of the 29 students. So this was interesting to know that it's present in the den, but it's not the dominating group. So in conclusion, when analyzing my codes that I pulled from my notes, I feel my data shows that the den is definitely more popular with female white students at Georgia College. I found it disturbing a little bit that the employees were the major group of people of color, and I think for future research there would be value in researching the demographic among the faculty members here in relation to the students, as well as I found all the data to be consistent with the demographic in Georgia College, which I think is important and significant because it puts the inequality that we know with numbers and with a selective process of college enrollment, it puts it to show that it's also prevalent in public spaces. Thank you.